This is a true story. This tale we will call The Barber from Hell. Me. See, my dad owned two barber shops back in the 1970s in Kingston. His name was Robert Ramsay. He was also an old war veteran from the Second World War. When he retired from the military as a veteran, he opened up two barber shops to make extra money to feed the family. He had two barber shops, one on Elm Street in Kingston, and one right across from the O.H. Armstrongs. Dad was a great barber, one of the best in the business. Anyhow, being Dennis the Menace that I am, he taught me how to cut hair back in the mid-70s. So I was always able to cut women's hair and men's hair also, because I learned from the best barber in Kingston, Robert Ramsay. I used to cut Eva Turple's hair and give her haircuts over the last 14 or 15 years, I would guess. But most people's hair that I would cut, I would keep some locks of the hair for souvenirs. Now, Eva Lorrette Turple was my girlfriend at kentville since 1990 until her untimely passing of 2023. What did Eva Turple pass away with? Well, complications of having diabetes. She had the bad kind of diabetes where you would take a needle 3 times a day. But she wasn't on any insulin. So she was never diagnosed with the sugar diabetes. Now, I am a professional artist. I do folk art, fine art, abstract art paintings, and Gothic art too. Gothic art is a dark art. Anyhow, I kept many locks of Eva's hair over the years. Here's some here. I got more in the drawer. Now, to remember Eva Turple, I will only give a lock of her hair to good friends or people that had loved Eva Lorrette Turple at kentville. If you got a piece of jewelry like a ring, a necklace, I'll give you a lock of her hair to put in the jewelry. You can call me 902-365-5044. But anyhow, cutting hair is an art form. No different than me, Dennis Ramsay, painting a folk art painting or a fine art painting or an abstract art painting. Got it? Now, getting back to the hair cutting, how many people's hair have I cut over the years? I'd say 300 or 400 different people. Now, some of the haircuts went well, did a good job. Others went bad. For example, my friend, Greg Williams, he was a very hyper young fella. And I said, sit still in the chair and I'll trim your hair. The bangs and the back and the sides and blah, 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 everything else. Anyhow, he started rocking back and forth in the chair, wouldn't sit still. I said, if you don't sit still, you might lose an ear or you might nick you somewhere. Anyhow, I was cutting his hair and he was rocking back and forth. And I accidentally cut off half of his ear. Would have been from about here off. But he survived it, and he never come back for another haircut. Let's put it that way. Another time I was cutting this fellow's hair, and I was trimming his bangs in front, like, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he wouldn't sit still. So I cut off his one of his eyebrows accidentally. He was bleeding like a pig in a slaughterhouse. So I ran and got a face cloth and put it on him and held it down for about 10 minutes to stop the bleeding. And eventually I got the bleeding stopped, and he never come back for another haircut. Say no more. But that's why I nicknamed this story The Barber from Hell. But truly, I know how to cut people's hair, men and women. I cut my own hair all the time. Been doing that since I was a young fella of the age of, let's see, when did I start first cutting hair? I would have been 9 when I dabbed into hair cutting. Now I'm 59 and I still trim people's hair. But anyhows, a lot of people, when you're cutting their hair and they don't sit still and they're moving or whatever, you end up accidentally cutting them. Another guy wouldn't sit still there, so I was trimming his eyebrows. That's another thing about hair cutting. You know, your eyebrows can get bushy, and I was trimming his eyebrows, and he wouldn't sit still. So I accidentally cut the tip of his nose off. And it fell on the floor, and he looked down in shock and went. But I said, sit still. The son of a bitch wouldn't sit still. So he lost the tip of his nose. But be that as it may, accidents do happen. But for the broad, vast amount of haircuts I had done, I did well. Nobody lost ears or tips of nose or eyebrows or eyelashes. Few did, but that was their mistake of moving and not sitting still like this. How can you cut a person's hair if they're not sitting still, right? So when I cut people's hair, I tell them to sit like this, still. Then the haircut goes better, got it? Do share and subscribe to the Dennis Ramsay YouTube channel, thank you. Always give Dennis Ramsay a thumbs up in his videos. Anyhows, I am also a professional boxer of 6 years. I took Taekwondo karate in Halifax when I was in a group home. I'm also a brown belt in karate. And my hands could be considered lethal weapons, believe it or not. And my feet too. Mind you, they were never registered. But yeah, getting back to the Eva Lorrette Turple story, my girlfriend, I used to trim her hair. Here's some beautiful locks in this bag, and I got some in some other zip bag, plastic bags. The funny thing about hair, even though Eva Lorrette Turple passed away and is gone, if you pick up the hair like this, you can smell Eva Turple. Every time I grab a lock of her hair, I can smell Eva. She's still with me in hair. But for all the Eva Lorrette Turple fans, if you bring me a piece of jewelry, be it a necklace or a ring, you can have a small lock of Eva Turple's hair in memory. But it has to go into the jewelry, and you have to be a good friend of Eva Turple. I dated Eva since 1990 until her untimely death. Complications of diabetes, so the doctor and nurse told me. Anyhow, her funeral is this Thursday, February 23rd, 11 a.m. at the White Family Funeral Home. All are allowed to attend the funeral. Now, getting back to the barber from hell, I did more good haircuts than bad. Only 4 or 5 people I had wounded, and it was because they wouldn't sit still. One time I cut a guy's chin, had to get him a few stitches at the hospital, but he was all right. He lived to get another haircut another day. So this story will go down, mark it on the board, The Barber from Hell, Dennis Ramsay. But also, keep in mind, I am a great barber today. I suffer from autism, mixed personality disorder, also paranoid schizophrenic, go figure. So Dr. Brian Garvey said I had 3 disorders. Now, with any kind of a sickness, you come down with the depression. Most people that are mentally ill, be it bipolar, schizophrenic, a sociopath, or whatever, are very depressed people to begin with. I do music and art on the Dennis Ramsay YouTube channel. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up in all the videos. This video will be in the memory of Eva Lorrette Turple, kentville legend, kentville icon, kentville fixture in the kentville town. Eva was a staple in the kentville landscape. She was an icon, a legend. So in memory of Eva Turple, peace out. Have a good evening and bye for now.